Question 4. It says a patient has a nutritional deficiency and it's told to take at least 2,400 milligrams of iron, 2,400 milligrams of vitamin B1, and 1,800 milligrams of vitamin B2. Two alternative multivitamin pills are available to the patient. The vitamin contents of each is shown on the table below. So we have this table right here that is showing these two pills. There are multivitamins, right? And they're asking us, this is what combination of this pill and this pill will meet the patient's vitamin requirement at the lowest cost. So when it says the lowest cost, we know for a fact that over here, when we do the solver, we're going to select minimum because we're trying to minimize the cost of the patient, right? We're not trying to maximize profit. Usually when it's profit-wise, we're usually trying to maximize. When it's about cost, let's say if we're going to purchase a house, we want to pay the lowest, right? So the lowest percentage, the lowest cost, that'll be minimizing instead of maximizing. So we're going to do the little template. Since I did it here for question 3, I'm just going to go ahead and copy it. So Command C because I'm in a Mac, otherwise Control C and then Command V. Because it's going to be pretty much the same thing. We're just going to change the contents of the table, right? So I'm going to clear my contents right here. These two as well. I'm going to take this one out, these two out. I'm going to leave total because that's going to be the same, even though it's not going to be revenue. And then here, I'm going to take out these two and take this ones, right? So I think for me, it's good. Let's start with the input, right? So in the input, we're going to have two variables, which are going to be the two different pills, right? The Maxivit and the Health, whatever that is. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to copy it. I'm going to Command C and Command V to make my life easier. Yep, that works. And then, okay, so for the first input that we're going to put is the cost, right? So let's start by the cost per pill. So we're going to put here cost. And just so I can make my life easier, let me maximize a little bit. Okay. So we're going to put the cost. And so the cost for this one, it's going to be what? 0.06. And then the cost for the second one is going to be 0.10, right? So 0.10. And so what's going to happen here, what it shows 0 is because I don't have any places after, there you go, the comma. So that's what I'm going to do. So after cost, what are we going to have? So we're going to have milligrams of iron, B1, and vitamin B2. So, you know, I'm going to put, let's put milligrams of iron. I'm going to put, let's say B1, just so I can make my life easier. We can, you know, put as many as we want. Let me insert, yeah. So we have at least one. So how many milligrams of iron? So it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to copy it from the table. From iron is going to be 40. Then of the other one is going to be 10. Then down below, B1 is going to be 10. And then it's going to be 15. And then B2, it's going to be 5 and also 15 milligrams, right? So let's go down to the decision variable. So in the decision variable, I will always go ahead and read the question on the problem and say what combination of these two pills would meet the patient's vitamin requirement. So what we're trying to look for here is the combination of pills. So this is what we're looking here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this so it's pretty consistent. And so I know every time what am I referring to. Same thing, I'm going to copy this and then, you know, paste it here. Let me look at my, notes. And then for the constraints, well, this one is different. So in here, I already have the formula. No, we're gonna go ahead, sorry, and delete this because this is what we're looking for down here in the model objective. So in the model objective, what are we looking for? We're not looking for profit, right? So when we were in the previous question, it said we're maximizing revenue, right? So in here, what are we trying to do? We're gonna do the lowest, cost. We're trying to look for the lowest cost, and so this is gonna be total cost. So instead of this one being like in the previous example, total revenue or revenue, then here is going to be a total cost. So the total cost is going to take that patient to take those pills. So for I already had it in the previous exercise. You guys can go back if you want to, but it's pretty much. So we're going to multiply, the cost is going to be the combination of the pills of this pill times the cost of the pill. And so that's already there. And then this is the same thing, right? I went over it, I think, in question 3 a little bit more detail. And the total cost is going to be just the sum of these two. So now for the constraints is the one that is going to change. So for the first constraint, we're going to put, so we have, let's read the question. A patient had a nutritional deficiency and is told to take at least this much of iron, at least this much of vitamin 1, and at least this much of vitamin 2. So those are going to be your constraints. Iron, B1. I think you can put pretty much any note that you want here. It's up to you, however easier you see it, for you to be able to do the exercise. Let me just clear these values. So in here it says at least 2,400 milligrams of iron. So my constraint is 2,400, right? And we're going to deal about the operator now when we're done with these values. So 2,400 of B1 and 1,800 of B2. So 2,400 again for B1 and 1,800 for B2. So that's good. Now for our operator, it says at least. So when it says at least, it means that is the minimum amount that they have to take, right? And so if it's the minimum amount, it's what it actually means is that this value that we're going to get, the value that we're going to get over here has to be bigger than or equal to than this value right here. And since all of them are the same, I'm just going to drag it down so it's the same operator. Now for the value. So in the value, the solver is going to do this, but we still need to enter a formula. So the formula that we're going to use is going to be the sum product. So what is array 1? So array 1, we're going to start with iron, right? So right here it says iron. Let's go back to iron. So we're going to do this 2, right, of the 2 vitamins. The iron required for the 2 vitamins, comma, array 2 is going to be the combination of the pills. And now for this one, I'm going to go ahead and lock it. So when I drag it down, this one is going to move, right, to be vitamin B1 and vitamin B2. But this one is going to stay because I don't want this one to be dragged down. So I'm going to do Command T because I'm in a Mac. Otherwise, you do F4. And then that should be it. All right, let me go ahead and drag it down. Okay, it should show 0. Now let's do the solver. So to see if all of it was correct. So we're going to do data solver. So and the solver, instead of max, so let's start by here. So what is the objective? The objective, and I'm going to double check and make a look at my notes. The objective is going to be my total cost. So instead of max, we're looking for the minimum, right? Because we want to pay less, right, for those pills. And which cells are we going to be changing? These 2, right? We're always going to be changing the decision variable pretty much. So now for the constraints, let me change in here. It's always going to be simplex LP. Now we're going to add. So my constraints, who are going to be my constraints? Well, the ones that we put down here at the bottom. Since all of my constraints are the same, or at least the explicit constraints, we're going to put them all together. So I'm going to say these 3. And now I'm going to pay attention to the operator right here. Are going to be bigger than or equal to this right here, right? I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to hit add. Why? Because I have an implicit constraint. What is my implicit constraint? That the combination of pills, it cannot be 0, right? It cannot be a negative number. You either take a pill or you don't take a pill. So here it'll be bigger than or equal to 0 because you can take no pill at all. So that is also a solution. I'm going to hit OK and it'll take me back. So simple XLP solve. It should be good to go. Let's see. Let's give it a minute. Okay, found solution. I'm going to hit OK. And so this is what it ended up resolving for us, given the information that we put in. So we're just going to go here and we're just going to answer the question. So how much of this vitamin? So that should be this. And like I said, hopefully it's good. Otherwise, this one is going to be this one. And then my cost is going to be here. So that's going to be my total cost. So let's go back to answers. Question 4. And like you see here, 100%. The only thing that was different here, though, is that we were minimizing the cost. In the past question, we were maximizing profit, right? When we talk about profit, we maximize. When we talk about cost, we want to reduce because we don't want to pay as much. And this is the end of the video. I hope you understood.